My name is Cher. Thanks for stopping by the channel. Welcome to Linden Hill Farm. This is a fiber-based webcast where I talk mainly about my knitting, occasionally spinning, some dyeing, very rarely weaving, but hopefully more to come, and all of the fibery things. Also, my husband and I recently opened a fiber mill in South Carolina. So there's some fiber mill content as well as we kind of walk through that learning process and the fun of running a fiber mill and meeting farms and working with sheep, and sheep are to come. So we'll have the content of the channel will continue to diversify a little bit as we do that. So I invite you to follow along and join us. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up. That helps the channel. It doesn't cost anything for you. That's the best way you can help us out. And the other really good way is if you watch all the way to the end, and if you are so kind as to leave a comment. I always love to know where you're watching from, what you're working on. Do you have any questions, any content you'd like to see? And just really appreciate the engagement with everyone on the channel. It's been a little while longer from my last podcast than I had planned, so I apologize for that. We unfortunately had to make an emergency trip home a couple weeks ago to say goodbye to our dear Labrador, Sadie. I know a number of you have interacted with my posts of Sadie over the years, so I know you share that grief with us, and a number of you have commented, and I appreciate that so very, very much. We're getting used to a no dog household, which has been a little bit quiet and difficult, and then some silly things like we forget to lock the door because normally we let the dog out last. And anyway, so it's taking a little adjustment, and in the travel, we just time got away. So sorry for that. I do try to normally post every other week, and then I try to put some shorts in, particularly some of the mill content as that kind of comes up over the week with less scheduled frequency. So I hope that you will stay tuned, and we'll now talk about the knitting. So, finished objects. I have one finished object today, and that is my Salty Days sweater. And I believe I was close to the end, but I don't think I've posted since this, and I guess I could have gone back and looked. But so I did this sweater, and I will put in some B-roll, whichever side seems to fit better, to kind of show full length. So this is a pattern by Veronika Lindberg, or Kutovakika. And it is merely done for a winter weight sweater. I think it's a DK in mohair or fingering in mohair maybe. It's a really lovely stitch pattern. I did follow the pattern for the most part. However, I have used a summer yarn. This is Cestari Ashlon collection, which is 70% cotton, 30% wool, and also in DK weight. And so you have that, lighter, paler colors that the summer yarn, the cotton really blends to it. And so then the changes that I made, I followed for the most part, and I've got very detailed notes in my Ravelry project page of what I actually did. I followed the AKA Nora Knits podcaster, Nora. I followed her modifications. So for the neckline, rather than, I think it's a ribbed folded neckline, I did this, repeated the eyelet section, and then did a kind of folded or rolled bind off. And same thing for the sleeves, really. And then I don't know if she did, I did a split hem on mine, and I also did a rolled edge on that. So hopefully the B-roll is running. You can kind of see in the end. I have worn this a lot. Unfortunately, with the color, it does limit a little bit what I can wear it with. Like, I probably wouldn't pair it with this, although I guess it would be all right. But as far as from a weight perspective, I mean, it could maybe be a smidge shorter. It's a little heavy, but for me, we're either typically in North or South Carolina, occasionally in Virginia. Very hot, like everywhere right now, but or everywhere in the northern hemisphere seems like. Our temperatures average upper 90s, around 100 Fahrenheit. So we are in and out of air conditioning a lot in the vehicles and homes, and I'm quite cold natured. So for that purpose, this has been really, really nice for me to have. I will say in the evening, I still grab my wool pullover over my pajamas, but I really like it. I'm happy that I got the needles. I found it a super engaging knit through the yoke. I gotta admit, it got to be a little bit of a slog to finish the sleeves. Not because I mind what it was. I was just ready for it to be done. And working in summer plant-based fibers is not my favorite, although I'm trying to embrace it, because truly about 8 months out of the year, that's really the weight that we need here. So that is my finished Salty Days sweater. Before we talk about our next two works in progress, I was visiting a farm outside of Durham, North Carolina, and stopped into Yarns, etc. Yarn shop in Durham. It was a recommendation of several by Rachel of the Chapel Hill Knitter. So thanks, Rachel. Had a lovely day. So some of you may or may not know, I have celiac disease, so I am gluten-free. So a friend of mine had accompanied me to go on the farm trip to pick up some fleeces for the mill, and then we stopped at Merritt's, which boasts the world famous BLT in Durham, and I had a lovely gluten-free BLT sandwich, which was delicious, and they were very careful and safe. So if you're in the area and need gluten-free, that was awesome. And then Yarns, etc. was just a few minutes around the corner, so we took a trip to see a very nice yarn shop. Really enjoyed meeting the owner there and talking with her. I thought she has some really nice, good selections. And I'll show you some yarn that I picked up later on. But on the way out, as a last minute impulse purchase, I did pick up this Delicue bag. And I mean, I occasionally share the bags I like, but I have been just loving this. And this is, gosh, I was going to save the label. Let's see if I did. So it has this just kind of arm loop thing in it. I like it because I can open it like to put flat to work in. And let's kind of see. I thought I saved the tag to show you what model it was. Oh, I know. I put it in the pouch. It's the Nora bucket bag in maroon. So I'm sure most folks are familiar with the Delicue. And so I have actually kind of been using it as a purse. And I have two knitting projects in it. The next one I'm going to show you, and then the one after that. And because it has two interior pouches, I have the, my notions and needles and tags and such from those two projects. And then I have my cords and stitch subverts. And then I have a little kind of small purse that has, most of my essentials in. I just kind of drop that in there, and my phone, and it's got these two nice exterior pockets as well. So anyway, I've really found that, and it's nice to have a bag with two projects. So as you'll see, one of them I've now got to the stage where I can just knit, and the other one is got one where I've got to pay attention. And so it's nice to have, depending on the setting, I can just pick one or the other up. So I've been enjoying that. So I can see that being something I kind of look for and do, just because you just never know. Like, yesterday I got to my hair appointment a little bit early, and she had squeezed somebody in between because she knew I might be a little bit late. I had communicated that. And so I just had a little time to knit, or, any number of things that you might need emergency knitting, right? So anyway, very nice to have that. And I haven't figured out, I've still been carrying my same large tote that I've carried for years for work, even though I've obviously left my corporate job well over a year ago now and don't really have that same need to carry around laptop and other essentials. So anyway, and next, works in progress. So my first work in progress is the Aestiva tee. And this is a pattern by Rachel Costello. And I am knitting this for my mom. And I talked about this quite a bit on the prior episode. It's a very complex yoke. Not in what you're knitting, but you've got to pay attention to a number of stitch markers, some slip stitch patterning, and you're doing 2 and 3 things at the same time. She's got it very nicely charted so that it is quite easy to follow, and you just kind of go, work yourself line by line. And I just found like I had to count every row. So that seemed like it took a very long time, but I believe it is giving a really, really nice fit. It's got a saddle shoulder, has this nice slip stitch detail here along the shoulder. And then it's got a slight V-neck. And I think it's going to fit really nice. We did a little try on so that I could, and then I've now put on the bust darts. And then, so now I'm knitting around till the end and then doing the sleeves. So this is my kind of on the go, pick up and knit, just put a few rows in. It's on 4mm US 6 needles, I believe. And I'm knitting the size 3. No, size 5. Size 5. So I think that is a 3.5mm US 4. So a little bit smaller. So it doesn't feel like the fastest knit, but I think, the thing about that smaller gauge is it just gives such a nice finish and a nice fabric to the knit. So we'll just keep working away on that. Hopefully it'll just kind of get done. I just try to do several rounds at a time. I've been working on the next one quite a bit. So this is being knit in the Knitty McPurly Yarn Co. Virginia Woolen Spun in the colorway Fathom. This is produced for Devon by Cestari, and it's 50% American Rambouillet, 50% Virginia cotton, and 380 yards to 100 grams. So DK, I believe this is the no, is this the fingering? Fingering weight, sorry, this is a fingering weight. Thus the small needles. so that is the Aestiva tee by Rachel Costello. So I believe I also talked on the last podcast that I was able to join the test knit for Anniina Juuti's Wildvine tank, which I was very excited about. And I have chosen to knit that in Lindy chain, which is a Knit Picks fingering weight, 180 yards to 50 grams. And it's 70% linen, 30% Pima cotton. Holding a black yarn double with a lace stitch probably was not the best pairing. But I am really happy with how it is coming out. So I don't know, again, this won't show up great with the black, but I did do some B-roll. So I will put that in here while I talk about it as well. So this is a really nice pattern. So I believe she's releasing the pattern, should be shortly after you see this episode, because I think she's releasing it on July 24th, if I recall correctly. It's very nice because it's got a lot of the finishing details done as you go. So you do, you're kind of finishing a lot of the I-cord, and then you're doing a little bit of, cleanup at the end. I've gone ahead and done all of my neckline and sleeve pickups and finishes so that I'm not quite done for the test knit, which is due today. But I'm just now knitting on the length of the body. I think I've got 4 to 5 inches to go. She has two bust dart options, and I did the bust dart one, and I'm knitting the size 7, and it's a really nice fit. I like the pattern quite a lot. She's got a cardigan coming out. I think, I'm not sure, maybe later summer. I would definitely like to do that. Unfortunately, I looked to see if I could order more Lindy chain. Not that I'd probably be crazy to try to do this again with Lindy chain. But I did not see it on the Knit Picks website at all. So I don't know if they've discontinued it or just happened to catch when they didn't have any in stock, which would be interesting. Because I would like to at least do, I don't know, Ranunculus or a Love Note or some loose gauge pullover to have something to wear over this for the aforementioned air conditioning issues. I think would be really nice. And I will say, so today I have on my Sabai top. This is, I believe this is, I don't remember if this is number 1 or number 2. So it's just the rolled neckline, all stockinette, slip stitch on the sleeve. I love this top. I wear this top all the time. This is done with a 50-50 wool bamboo blend by Viking Garn. The name of it escapes me at the moment, but anyway, so I measured against that because I really like the length of this. I wear this all the time, and I have this same yarn knit into a crumpet cardigan, which I dearly love, but got really tired by the end of knitting it. And but I haven't found another cardigan pattern that excites me as well as the look of that. And I do love that cardigan. And for me, the pairing of the tank and the lacy cardigan is just so perfect for our climate a good part of the year. So I may have to bite the bullet and do another one. But and it's a great pattern, by the way. It's totally not the pattern. I just kind of got, well, like I just get that way with at the end of all of my projects. I just try to start something new. Occupational hazard. Anyway, this is really nice. I would encourage you to take a look at it when the pattern comes out. The bust darts, I'll see if I can grab, I don't know if I had it before and after, but I don't think, actually, I think I forgot to take the before and I just took the after, but really that little bit of bust darts, and it was, I don't know, it's maybe 8 rows or so. It wasn't too bad. And really brought it down, and you can see how nice and evenly the front and the back are on this pattern, probably better in the B-roll. So really enjoying that. This is going to be a great top to have in my wardrobe. I wear, I mean, in the mill, we don't have any air conditioning, so in our climate, even inside in the insulation with the fans, it's in the mid to upper 90s most of the time. So definitely, which is why you've not seen a lot of video lately or even photographs, because I frankly can't stand to wear a bra. So that and my shorts and my sweaty hair is not very photogenic. So if you get stuff from me, it probably does not have me in it. Every now and then I kind of judiciously crop out, but we are working on getting the kind of like my office, studio space in the mill that will have some air conditioning in it. So that will help a little bit, and then I'll be able to also film content more contemporaneously as we are, when we're down there and I'm doing stuff in the mill and can show you examples. So there'll be a lot more of that content to come. I'm really enjoying the fun and processing of the wool, mainly wool at this point. Yeah. So anyway, I seem to be. This is I am digressing at every step. episode. Anyway, that was my second whip, the Wildvine Tank by Anniina Juuti. All right, so my last work in progress was kind of a impulse cast on. I have been thinking about doing a third ranunculus for quite a while. Darn, I meant to bring my first two. My first ranunculus I had one skein of yarn. I think it was like a large skein. And I did, it was the first garment I ever did. Probably not the best fit in. I think it was the original ranunculus recipe pattern, and which doesn't have the sizing, I believe. And so, but I wear it quite a lot. I layer it typically because the winter yarn is actually quite warm for such a loose gauge. Here's a snapshot of that one. And then the second one I knit with Holst yarn, and one single strand of Holst yarn, also pretty warm considering how open gauge and thin a single strand of Holst yarn is. And I did that with the long sleeves. I wear that one a lot again, a great layering piece. So, you know, I need more cardigans, but as I mentioned earlier, I just cannot land on the next best pattern. I mean, unfortunately, nothing's leading up to the crumpet, and I'm not really anxious to cast on another one. Again, nothing to do with the pattern. It was a very well written pattern, so I may just need to bite the bullet and do it. I've got a lot. I've got Rebecca Clowes, Corin in my queue. There's a couple other lacy ones. Anyway, but the crumpet is a phenomenally great cardigan. I really, really like it. It's also very distinctive. So like, you want to do something a little different. I don't know. But anyway, at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I need a black and a white kind of cardigan-ish thing. So I decided I was going to cast on a white ranunculus. At Yarns Etc., I purchased this Dunescape yarn by Universal Yarns, and so I got in, and she does carry Sandus yarn. So I had actually was looking for, I think, is it 10? No, Lena. I was looking for Lena, the DK. So she carried the Tick Lena and the 10 Lena, but not just the plain Lena. But she said that this was very similar, and it is quite similar. It's 57% cotton, 30% viscose, and 13% linen. Universal Yarn is located in North Carolina. This does say it was produced in Turkey. And this is the color 103 Coconut. And I'll also put a little B-roll in of this, of me just try. So I have whipped through the yoke. This was a little bit of that yarn, the Aestiva. I'd really only knit on those other two projects and mainly on the Wildvine Tank for the majority of the last maybe a week and a half. I'm trying to get that caught up. And then it was evening. I think I cast this on at like midnight one night. It was, working with the black yarn and just like not having anything else. I had really focusing on that, and I just wanted something different. So I cast on, and this is the first time. So if you're not familiar with the ranunculus, which is, I don't know, it's funny. I had a lot of ranunculus-based podcasts pop up in my feed this week, and I guess it is controversial in some ways. I don't know. I don't understand the love to hate things in the knitting community, and I know that is not the community that follows this channel. I just think, some things you love, some things you don't love as much, scroll by, it's fine. But it is a really, here's why I've knit a third one. It is a very well written pattern. It was obviously the first garment I ever knit. And I've done it more now as an experienced knitter, and I will tell you some things I do differently from my original, but it's very easy to follow. You can use any yarn weight, and which lets you get a very different outcome for the garment depending on what you want. So, you know, I have this one with the whole scarf held single, super lightweight, you know, very portable. I'm actually thinking about, I've got some knit picks. Is it Stroll? Whatever their worsted weight super washes. And I'm thinking of doing one in that, just again to have like a throw on over everything kind of jumper. I may do that as the love note, but anyway, different. It's really versatile and it's pretty. This, you know, it just has this pretty yoke. I did this in about 2 evenings. And it's fun. Like, I just was like, this is a really fun knit. Like, the stitches are fun. It's a nice increase. So what I did differently in my very first one, so there's 2 neckline options in here. This is the first time I believe I've done the quote wider neckline, mainly because I was intimidated by the cast on. And Midori Hirose, I don't think I said, Midori Hirose, Hirose, I think is how it's pronounced. Apologies. She has a lot of video support for the pattern as well. And she does have the cast on. And I kind of tried it that way, and I wasn't quite getting it. And I really wanted to do this one as the pattern indicates. And I think I used long tail cast on for my other 2. So I actually found a tutorial by Roxanne Richardson for this, and I think it's the double loop cast on. That made much more sense. It was just far easier for me to grasp and do. So I did the called for cast on. I think in the past, I don't know that I've used twisted rib. I think I just used regular ribbing. I think this pattern needs the twisted rib because of the open gauge. It just looks neater. And honestly, I don't know why I ever avoided it, because the way I knit, I'm a combination knitter, so my purl stitches are situated opposite to a number of other purl methods. So what that means on the next row, I would knit or purl into the back loop. And so that actually makes my ribbing really easily. And so the twisted rib was like a breeze to do. I quite enjoyed it. And then you have all these fun little things that give you this. I think the pattern says that, you know, she wanted to look like layers of a necklace. I think it would be interesting to carry like a single metallic thread through some of the layers or something. That would look pretty. I don't know, or you know, glittery. There's a lot of that glittery yarn now. It'd be interesting just to pick that up when you're doing those rounds or something. One of mine, I put Swarovski beads on in the flowers down here. It was pretty. So anyway, so I am done with the yoke now, and I'm to the raglan section, and it's the short body section, and then the sleeves. I will do this as a long sleeve. My second one, I did the long sleeve, and one of the sleeve options has like some short rows that make this kind of interesting bell cuff, which I actually love, and I-cord bind off. I'm debating whether I would do that or if I will do just a straight sleeve, rapid decrease, and twisted rib cuff. Probably the latter because it's summery, and I don't know that I want that. It'll just be easier to to push up if I don't want that in. So I think I also have a little B-roll of this. If I haven't been playing it, I will put it here. If not, it'll be done. You can just kind of see how that is sitting. So been enjoying that. The yarn I like, so this is also the same yarn specifications similar to Drops Bell, which I've used a number of times and really like. I have like a weird thing going on in the back where my beginning of brown marker was. I need to try to stretch that out. But I will say the first yarn was a little tangled. The first skein was a little tangled. Haven't done the third skein. The second one has been on my Swift for the better part of 4 days because it is so tangled I can't even unwind it. So I hope that's not the case, because if the third one's like that, I would never buy this yarn again, and which would be unfortunate because I think it's a very nice, affordable yarn, and the yarn is quite nice, but I can't deal with the skein. Like I'm having to I have each end on a bobbin, and I'm winding and untangling and winding, untangling, and I'm not even a quarter of the way through those pieces to get it done. It's literally the worst yarn nightmare I have ever encountered. So that's very frustrating. Anyway, we will figure it out and get it unwound and move on, because I need it for the project and I'm not driving back to Durham. Anyway, so that is my third ranunculus, and if you haven't tried it, I encourage you to take a look at it. I think it's just a really nice, versatile pattern, and I think it's the same pattern that tens of thousands of people have made, but I think they all come out a little differently depending on what you want, what yarn you want to use and how you want to size it, and it's fun. It's a fun knit, so take a look if you have not. Also, the Sabai top. So I know this is another one. It's been on the hot right now for a long time, but this is literally hands down my favorite garment I think I've ever done. Like I wear it, those two pieces, just all the time. Almost as much as my antler pullover, which is probably my least well-fitting knit through no fault of the pattern. I need to do another one and give it its day to shine and knit properly. So that's really what's been on my needles. I've been really focusing on getting that test knit done. Obviously, I was focused on getting the Salty Days done prior, so got that done. So I'll finish the test knit. I think the Aestiva is just going to take a while. I need to get back working on, I've got about to here maybe on my dad's cabled cardigan that I'm doing. Disappointingly, his try-on did not go so well. It's definitely too big. I'm hoping when it's blocked, it will kind of relax enough to just look a little oversized and not, not horrible, but it's a set-in sleeve, and here's where I think I went wrong. The sweater that my dad gave me to kind of model the sizing off, I'm right on, but it was a drop shoulder sweater, and I did not pick up on that. And if you think about the difference in how a drop shoulder lays, so that 50 inches of width or whatever which I think is 50 inches of width on that drop shoulder, when I put that into a set-in sleeve, you can see the problem, and that's exactly what you can see. The shoulders sit out here on him, so I'm hoping they relax a little bit and it won't look so bad, because it's a beautiful sweater. If not, one of the other men in the family will be getting a sweater for the fall, but I'm hoping it's not too big to wear, because it is really, really pretty. And that aside, the process that I've used to kind of reverse engineer to do the sleeves top down worked really, really well. I'm super happy with how the construction of it is. I just wish it fit as intended for the intended recipient, but if not, he'll get another sweater. Probably not a big cabled one, but I have since then found some men's V-neck sweaters. There's a couple of new patterns that came out, so that might be an option there too. But and then I don't know. I'm thinking about casting on, like I said, that Love Note, just again quick to have another kind of. I kind of just need throw on in the air conditioning sweatshirt, not worry about it sort of sweater. But in just a really neutral color. I still have my woolly mammoth yarn that I want to do a striped sweater. I do have the yarn that I ripped out of my Cyclone cardigan that was I dyed with avocado, and I did buy Surrey silk yarn at Maryland Sheep and Wool, I believe. Yes, Maryland Sheep and Wool to pair with that to do a step-by-step cardigan. So that is probably one of my next cast-ons. And then I have a number of whips that I need to kind of, you know, at least finish one for each new cast-on. But I'm still in the cast-on all the things stage, and I'm not bothered by that. I've decided. I will say I watched AKA Nora Knits this week, and she has had a really interesting premise of using Dave Ramsey's snowball theory of debt to attack your works in progress, which at a super quick level, you know, you would be applying your time, you know, a little bit to everything, but really focusing all your energy in the one that's closest to being finished, essentially. She explains it much better. I would encourage you to watch her episode. It was quite good, which is interesting to think about. So for me, that would probably be the Richmond Hill sweater that I have about that much of the sleeves left to do. It will be gifted to my lovely daughter-in-law. So that's one that I probably, you know, next time I just want to do some a little different, little color work, I can do that there. I also have the Snareness kerchief that I didn't take with me traveling, so I need to think about that. And get those two. Those two would be probably my quickest off the needles to go. And then I have a lot of things I'm thinking about for the fall, so that's a whole other episode. So finally, just a little life chat. So Mill's doing great. We got our first official order done and dusted, so that was really exciting. Maybe I'll put a little clip of that here at the end. And so yeah, we've got orders are coming in pretty steadily, ramping up. So I'm excited about that, and I'm really enjoying it. So hopefully web shop to come in a few weeks. I just have a little more admin that I need to do to get that going, and then I'll have some beautiful yarns to put up for anyone who may be interested. So without further ado, I will sign off here and wish you happy knitting, spinning, crochet, dyeing, or weaving, or whatever crafty rabbit hole you're in this week. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye.